Yeah, she's got some nice long hair.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day for the Canucks out there, and welcome back. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as you guys probably heard, my voice is still a little tender right now. Seeing a lot of people, little sickness, little slight cold, but it's great to be back. Got the ugly sweater going on right now, but thank you all for coming back. Also, fun fact, just posted the photo that my father-in-law made my son, where it's the Chicago Bears locker. So if you're on social media, check it out. I posted on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search Unbearable Sports. You can find it out there. It's pretty cool. He loves it, and I'm so excited. I think I love it more, needless to say, but it's absolutely amazing. But everyone, welcome. Sorry it took so long. Obviously, holidays were around us, so it was a little difficult to get something out, but I'm glad we're going to be able to review this 35-13 loss, right? It did not feel great when watching the game, but that's why we're going to break it down. 10 takeaways. What did I also see while rewatching this game as well? That's really what we're going to be covering here today, rather than like a quick response to what happened. So obviously, the Bears lost, right? Merry Christmas to all, and to all, we got beaten by 20 points. So let's go into just some of my takeaways. First takeaway is just lose, baby. As the great Al Davis said, the inverse of that, just lose, baby, is my first takeaway. Why? Because we just saw the Houston Texans win. The Houston Texans have been close in their past two games. If the Houston Texans can win another game and the Bears lose out versus the Lions, who are hungry for playoffs, and the Vikings, who also might need to win that last game, it's going to be an easy victory and an easy second pick, or maybe even a first. But we're realistic on this show. I think the Bears are going to still win one game. That's my feeling. What do you guys think? Because to me, I still feel like the Bears are going to win, whether it's against the Vikings or the Lions. They're too good of a team to have this big of a losing streak, right? It seems like something dumb happens and we just lose the game, right? But I'll tell you this, for anybody that's new here that hasn't heard us talk about this before, to me, whenever the Bears are on, I can never root for them to lose. Even though logically losing is the best thing that they can do, I still can't root for the loss. So, because I'm a fan. So when I watch the games, I cannot root for the loss. But at the end, when we lose by 22 points, it makes it a little bit sweeter when you then watch some of what is going on with the draft. I also want to bring something else too, because with the family, we're kind of talking Jaylon Carter, Will Anderson. I want to just bring something up. I love the draft. I love looking at it. To me, Jaylon Carter and Will Anderson are amazing, but the only thing I don't like that some places are saying is they're calling them generational prospects, right? To me, they're not generational. They're blue chip, which still means that they're phenomenal, that they are like super, 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 super safe. But they're not like, there's still question marks on their game. Jaylon Carter has played less than 1,000 snaps. For those that don't know, Jaylon Carter is the defensive tackle, kind of the three technique from Georgia that a lot of people are saying is like the second or third best player in the draft. And then Will Anderson is this phenomenal edge rusher from Alabama. But the more that you look at him, he's fast, he's got good burst, but he's not the 260, right? He's 240. So that's where, let's not call them generational prospects, but just say what they are. They are blue chip, phenomenal prospects. Let's not be throwing around generational all willy-nilly, shall we? So let's move on. That's enough tank talk for today. Let's go on to the second pick. And also for those watching on YouTube, I put ×2 because I did not change this from last time. Fields gets better every week. Every week he gets better, and it just gets me excited, right? Fills me up with Christmas cheer, because here's a quarterback that I want my kids to wear his jersey. Kids want to wear a Bears player's jersey. People outside of Chicago want to wear his jersey. Fields can throw it, he can run it. And yeah, last week, or this week, I guess technically, he wasn't lighting up the scoreboards, right? Only 119 passing yards, 15 of 23. But if you watch the tape, when I rewatched it, he's putting the ball in the right spots. He's going through his reads. He's playing like a quarterback. He's playing well and was sacked twice. Not terrible, but seriously, Justin Fields continues to get better, continues to show development in the passing game. And that is absolutely huge. And that's where, to me, I'm happy. That feels so good that we have a quarterback that can throw. Yes, there's a handful of plays that he could get better on, but really a lot of these incompletions, I don't jot up as Justin Fields failed. Justin Fields did something bad. Most of what he did was good. So I just want to give him a lot of credit. Now, there are PFF grades out there as well. So for those that don't have a PFF subscription, I always like to kind of go through some of these because it's interesting. He got an 82 passing grade. That's phenomenal. That is 90 is elite, and 82 is one of the best passing grades out there for the week. So to me, the grade backs it up. What we saw with Justin Fields backed it up. Just was able to throw the football, and that's what we want to see. And I've heard national media talk about Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. They were saying this is perfect, and I totally agree with them. Justin Fields is looking great. The Bears lost, so you still get a higher draft pick. It's a win-win over this weekend. Let's go to my takeaway number 3. Larry Borom is a long-term backup. That isn't a bad thing, right? I'm talking about Larry Borom as maybe he's not going to be with the Bears in a couple of years, right? When his rookie deal is done, maybe he's not out there. But what we saw today was Larry Borom was a player that could pass block, but in the run block, even though he's like 340 pounds, he doesn't move the pile. That's what he did when he was the starting tackle. That's what he was doing as the starting left guard. He doesn't move the pile. And you see that with Michael Schofield. Schofield and Borom both weren't terrible, except in the run game. And it's always hard to say who's good in the run game. But when you watch the film, you realize they don't really move their players, right? They're not shoving people over like a Tevin Jenkins does. And I mean, Tevin Jenkins is a rare breed. Tevin Jenkins has looked phenomenal, but still, Schofield and Borom really kind of show that they're these good backup players that you want. Now, can Borom potentially play to a starting spot? Maybe not on this team, but he could be a starter somewhere else. He's not terrible, but I think that there's a lot of room for him to grow in that run block game. And hey, if anything, I think he's going to be he's going to be one of those guys that has a long career in the NFL because he's a very good player. But I think overall, Larry Borom, let's leave him out as that starting right tackle conversation. I think the Bears ultimately will be looking at a right tackle. Now let's go to number 4, my number 4 takeaway. It pains me to say this because I love Khalil Herbert, but Monty was the better running back. He was. Stats show it. 16 carries, 62 yards for David Montgomery. Khalil Herbert, 6 carries, 7 yards. Normally it's the opposite, right? Normally Khalil Herbert has 2 yards extra, but for this, not so much. David Montgomery also 4 catches on 4 targets, 22 yards. Khalil Herbert, 2 receptions for -4 yards on 3 targets. Overall, Herbert did not look great out there and just seemed to be missing a step, right? This is the first game back off of IR and just didn't look great. Didn't run with as much power as he normally does. So it could just be it's the cold, right? And now he's getting back. That's a really tough game to get back into. But I think overall, Monty had a decent game. You want to see over 4 yards a carry. That's kind of the average. But especially in a cold weather, windy game, you know that the Bears are just going to be running the football. And that's why he wasn't able to do as well. And overall, this running game was not able to do well. Justin Fields, 3 carries, 11 yards, 1.6 average. Not great, right? And so that's where they came to stop the run. This is a good defense, a well-coached defense. And that's what was on display today. Leslie Frazier, very good defensive mind. So let's go to my fifth takeaway. And this is on everyone's mind. Bayless Jones. My fifth takeaway is Bayless will get his chance. Because this year, Bears are basically done with wide receivers. All the wide receivers are basically gone. Bayless Jones is still here. Bayless, 4 targets, 2 receptions, 52 yards. Now, even though the Bears wanted to discipline him, they still had to play him because they don't have any wide receivers. So he did make a very good play, but you see the skill set. You see the speed. Justin Fields, perfect lob up there. Trust Bayless with his tracking the ball and also speed to go get it. So I want to give Bayless a lot of credit on that play. He did track the ball. He also had the speed to outrun those players. That's the danger of Bayless Jones. Now, speaking of danger, danger on our side, the dude fumbled it again. Not on offense, but on the kick return. He kind of bobbled it. It was either the kick return or punt return. He bobbled it, right? This is what we see. He just needs to shore up those hands. Those hands, the carrying of the football. Even when he was running back the kick returns, there's a couple times that he did hold on to it with 2 arms. But it's like, dude, corral that ball, because if you don't, you're not going to be here for long. But I will give him a shout out too, because I don't have him covered in the special teams segment. I've got to give him a shout out too. 28.3 yards per kick return. That's great. We talked about it. This is the best kick return coverage team in the league with 19 yards per kick return. He gets 28.3. Phenomenal. Very good showing by Bayless Jones. Just he still needs to hold on to the ball. It was a great day, but as soon as he bobbled the ball, that just shows that reliability factor, that if you're not reliable, you're not going to be playing for this team next year. So Bayless, hit the jugs machine. Mooney might still be using it, right? He doesn't have to move too much, but still use the jugs machine, get that work in, hold on to the rock. But let's go to my last offensive takeaway. Number 6, let's give a shout out to the big man. Braxton Jones is a stud. That's right. Yes, he gave up a sack, right? We all saw the sack that he gave up. He did, in fact, give up a sack. But besides that, he kept Justin Fields clean. And also, when you saw them running the football, he's still one of the best run blockers in the league. And he's a freaking rookie from the 5th round. Braxton Jones is just solidifying that he is going to be the starting left tackle for the future of the Bears. And it doesn't seem that bold of a take. He's been phenomenal the past, 6 weeks? He's been absolutely spotless with the way, not spotless, but absolutely phenomenal. The way that he's been blocking, the way that he's been keeping people clean. And really, he only gets like one hurry or like one overall pressure. So either a sack, a hit, a hurry per game, which I'll take. He's been doing very well. And just want to give him some credit because he started to get back into like playing a little bit better because he was going against bad competition, right? He was going against Detroit, Atlanta, who don't have good pass rushes. But then he goes against the Jets, Green Bay, Philly, Buffalo, good pass rush units, and he ends up doing great. I'm just going to pull up his efficiency real quick. So let's see. Buffalo, he allowed, let's see here, 1 pressure versus Buffalo, 3 versus Philly, which isn't great, but still they passed a lot. 1 against Green Bay, 2 against the Jets, 1 against Atlanta, 1 against Detroit. So just has played very, very well. Just want to give him a shout out there. Braxton Jones looking great. But also, speaking of shout outs, speaking of being great, just want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, betus.com. You can use the link in the description, and you can also use code unbearable for 125% on your first deposit. Use that if you're interested in sports betting. Just bet responsibly. Don't lose money. Just bet on winners. It's as easy as that. Just had to grab a little drink of water. As you guys can probably hear right now, my voice is getting really hoarse right about now. So it's dying. I should have asked PayPal to come join me today because I knew that my voice was going to be kind of dying out on me. So let's keep the show on the road. Let's start going into some of this defensive side. And first, I mean, I know it's Christmas. I know it's you gotta be jolly, but guys, Nicholas Morrow was trash in this game. And I know he got an interception. I can read, right? Like we know he got an interception, but that interception was right to him. And when I was watching the game, the guy just gets pushed around, right? He's almost too light. We talk about this with, I hate comparing him to Sanborn, but Sanborn goes into the blocker. He pushes him back. He engages. But literally, when I was rewatching the tape in the run game, Morrow gets pushed back. Even if it's like they're going horizontally, they just kind of push him and he just goes back a couple yards. He's like afraid to just pop the defender, pop the blocker. And even on the long touchdown run, you saw him kind of not committing to a lane. And he needs to commit in a lane when they let up the big touchdown run. Just overall, Morrow is showing, hey, I shouldn't be here next year. Get somebody else. I'd be shocked if they bring him back. Now, yet again, PFF grades aren't everything. He was the second lowest person on the team that was graded at a 33 grade. Absolutely horrific. For those that are curious, Taco Charlton was the worst at 32.6. But Nicholas Morrow's grade just validated what I saw on tape too. He did not do well in coverage, did not do well defending the run. Honestly, very bad game for him overall. He got an interception. Good job. But that's not on him. That's on Joe Burrow throwing it. I mean, not Joe Burrow, Josh Allen throwing it a little bit too high and then going straight to Nicholas Morrow. But let's go to my seventh. And we got to flip it back to being a little bit positive. Kyler Gordon has back-to-back great games. His interceptions, he worked for, right? Like we saw what Kyler Gordon was able to do. And since coming back off of injury, Kyler Gordon has looked great. Great. Kyler Gordon beforehand was the guy that everybody picked on. Right now, no Jaylon Johnson, no Kindle Vildor. But Kyler Gordon's looking good. And this is what we wanted to see. We talked about it. Athletic guy, needs time to develop. Wasn't in love with his instincts, but that's something that you're hoping can be coached. And right now, what we're seeing is he is being coached. He is learning from this, and he is playing well. It wasn't like he was locking down everybody, but still, he held his own against one of the best offenses in the league, against very athletic receivers. Just another week that we're sitting here going, Kyler Gordon, looking good, looking good. He also predominantly played on the outside with the UDFA combo coming back. And that is my ninth takeaway is I'm all for this undrafted rookie free agent duo. It's not saying this should be the starters next year, but I'm just saying towards the end of the year, I'm enjoying this, right? I'm enjoying Jaylon Jones. Jaylon Jones is playing decent, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a starter. I'm saying he's just kind of validating that he should be the backup. But then we have Blackwell. Blackwell came back down, right? He looked like a god his first start, but now we see the natural regression. What is he actually? Did not have a great game, but I just like seeing them overall, what they're able to do. Also, let me just block this bot that's talking about some girls online. And Merry Christmas to all. So let's see. So where was I? Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon looks great, but also we have those undrafted rookie free agents. I think overall, these corners are going to be entertaining. Now, do I think Jaylon Jones and Blackwell will be starters next year? No, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be our backups. So that's where I like to see what do we have as these backups, because when we get into position battles next year, it's going to probably be Vildor versus Blackwell and Jaylon Jones. It's going to be a very interesting dynamic next year. But my final takeaway in this cold weather, Cairo Santos cooled off a lot of the doubters. Cairo Santos looked good. Cairo Santos kicked it through. Very windy. We saw how much Bass, a very good kicker, struggled in this weather. Santos, hats off. You answered. You were able to do what you needed to do. So now you're a little cooler. But still, this is a week-to-week thing. You need to keep showing that you can still kick the field goals. You need to show that you can do your job still with this. So Cairo Santos, great job. Let's see next week and the week after that. Do I think that if he makes all of his kicks, that now he's the kicker for next year? No, I still think it's smart. It's still a smart decision if the Bears were to bring in another kicker undrafted, right? That can at least compete, turn up the heat a little bit on Cairo Santos overall. But that's it for our show. My voice, I think, is officially shredded. It's dying out on me. But overall, I'm trying to think of anything else out there. Joe Thomas, Matt Adams actually played pretty well when rewatching it. Just more of like a good coverage guy. Like I thought that he was in the right spots. He didn't play a lot, but still played decent. I think DHC, even though he's PayPal's boy, I think DHC is kind of showing that he's kind of like a Deion Bush, right? Where right now, since he's later on in his career, he's a good cover guy, but he definitely gives you some upside in special teams. But I don't think that whenever DHC used to come in, he'd ball out. I think right now he's just kind of decent, kind of solid out there as well. I'll also give a shout out Cole Kmet, 5 catches, 27 yards, mostly in garbage time. Just want to see him a little bit heavier used, throughout the game. But yet again, very bad weather game. We'll see what happens with the Lions. I'm excited for it. So we will be breaking down the Lions game on this Thursday night at 7:30 Central Time. So make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to also rate 5 stars out there anywhere that you get your podcast. For the couple of people that rated 5 stars out in Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. That helps out tremendously. And with that, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy first day of Kwanzaa, everybody, and also Happy Boxing Day to you Canucks out there. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a